everybody. Welcome back. Oops. Kicked whiskey bottles. Welcome back to another episode of Another Bourbon Show. Tonight we're going to be drinking from a craft distillery that is located out in Washington State. It's a store pick. We're not drinking the standard off-the-shelf version of it, but we're going to be drinking some Woodinville. This is 72% corn, 22% rye, and 6% malted barley. This is their straight bourbon. Again, it's a private select. I think this one came from the Rusty Water Society, I think. But I'm not 100% on that. It doesn't say on it. It just says selected and bottled exclusively for laying the wood, which is what makes me think that it's probably Rusty Water Society. See right there? Laying the wood. Yeah.
It's a good bet then.
Yeah, pretty solid bet. But yeah, so this is 120.04 proof, so it's 60.02% alcohol. Yeah, and like I said, this is out of Washington State. But
what'd you say the proof was again?
120.04.
Okay, so it's higher.
Yeah, it's a pretty high proof. But Steven, what do you think of that label? You want to rate that label?
Well, I think that the label itself looks kind of like something that you'd see on a, I don't know, like Cracker Barrel wall, that kind of aesthetic. It's very like country, like down home kind of feel, while still being like, I would say it's kind of in that Bass Pro Shop rustic aesthetic. It's not my favorite by any means, but I don't think it's a bad label. This is not, there's so many bad labels out there. I would definitely not classify this as a bad label, but I'll say this is solidly just not my style either. So I'm going to give it a straight 5 out of 10. I think it's middle of the road, middle of America. It's kind of the look for Woodinville for me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just, I feel like there's so many of these bourbons that kind of go with this like stencil drawn sort of picture of their distillery or whatever. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's not that cool of an aesthetic just to show like a rick house or something like that. So 5 out of 10, it's fine if you show your rick house. But it's just not my thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, it's got kind of like a medicinal bottle shape to it too, and
you know like a lot of bottle. Like I feel like these craft distillers all get their same glassware from the same glass provider.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's they're trying to give it a very rustic look, and that ends up making it a very generic look. Even if they're not identical, Steven, kind of like what you were pointing out, they're very similar. There's a lot of similarities between those types of things. So SRP for their standard is their standard off the shelf straight bourbon, I think, is like $40 to $45. I would guess that that's about the same price that I paid for their barrel pick, maybe 45 or 50. But honest to God, it's been so long ago that I don't remember exactly. But I do remember liking the whiskey itself, especially at like the high proof. I was like, wow, it doesn't taste nearly as high proof as 120 proof. But why don't we give it a taste and you guys let me know what you think.
Let's do it. Cheers.
Cheers. Get a lot of like peach on the nose.
Like yeah.
I've had a lot of fruit smelling whiskeys lately.
Not intentionally. Not on purpose.
I smell a little, I was picking up the grain quite a bit here, like a little malted barley.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this doesn't have an age statement on it, but my understanding is that most of their spirits are in the 5-year range.
I get a lot of oak off the nose, too. Peaches and oak.
very oaky flavor. Like
Yes.
really makes sense why they called it laying the wood. Like other than the like sophomoric approach to it, it does have a lot of
What's the proof on this?
120.04.
Yeah, so this is like a barrel strength Eagle Rare to me.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's my first impression of something comparable that people have had out there.
Yeah. Like very oaky.
Yeah.
We haven't had anything this oaky since we had the Jim Beam Double Oak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Th-
And go ahead.
This ain't really in my wheelhouse. It is. It's so oaky. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I was like with the proof. I thought I'll keep drinking it. This happens a lot where you have a sip and then as the show goes on, you taste more of other notes. But yeah, it's very, very oak forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would say that I kind of agree with, on one hand, what you're saying, Ryan. It's very one note. This is not very complex to me, on the palate anyway. The nose had a little more interest to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as I drank it, I was like, well, I'm not picking really up a lot of those notes other than the oak. So very
And there's
pleasant finish.
there's not a lot of sweetness to it either.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
pleasant finish though. And nice warm. But I mean, I think it's pretty easy to get that when you're up 120 proof.
Yeah.
On the nose a little bit too. Now I'm smelling, I get a little clove. I used to smoke. Do you remember this, Steven? I like the clove cigarettes back in the day in college. They were called blacks.
Yeah,
Remember yeah, they smell like, it kind of has that smell to it. It reminds me of college.
You would smoke those?
Every now and then.
I don't think I ever saw that. I don't know. I would have commented on it.
Oh, really? They weren't like Black and Mild. They were just, I think they were called blacks.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
It's Jarum Blacks. I know them. Well, I don't smoke them, but I know them.
Yeah, I mean, as like a 19-year-old, they were pretty cool.
I mean, define cool.
Smoking's cool, dude. So, you know what else I would smoke every now and then? My buddy Aiden and I, we'd smoke the Al Capones. They're little cigarillos dipped in cognac, and then you taste your lips after.
Yep, I remember those.
Yeah. God, I was so cool.
I'm trying to pick up exactly what else is. So this smells very similar to something else, but I can't place my finger on it. Maybe it's clove cigarettes Ryan would smoke. That's just coming back to me all of a sudden.
You know, on the nose, I kind of get a smoke wagon smell to it. I don't get that from the flavor, but I kind of get a smoke wagon.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there a little bit.
It's definitely like peppery too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get a lot.
This...
Like I get, it's very like. I mean, I feel like it's probably got a pretty big rye count in it, but
yeah, it's 22% rye, and I was just thinking about the fact that it does taste like it's got a bunch of rye, and I would say it tastes like it's got more rye than 22%. But it doesn't have like a strong enough finish for me to think completely, oh, it should have it. Like if I was doing this completely blind, not being able to look over at the mash bill, that's where like I would get into like the weirdness of it tastes spicier, but it doesn't have the longer finish that I expect with a rye.
It's like I still get that like pepperiness in the back of my throat, but when I drink it, there's nothing. Like the back of my throat kind of burns, but I don't get any hug.
I mean, I'll fully admit that one of the reasons why we're drinking is because it's been sitting on my shelf for quite a while, and I'm like, well, let's drink it on the show.
Have you not had it up till this point?
No, I've had it. I mean,
okay,
that's what's left.
Point
it's just
being,
not.
You've
it's
had
not
it.
one that I visit regularly. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Is it's something you've had and then kind of sits there. Um, Now, to me, I'd be curious what this tastes like in any form that's not a store pick, because I have nothing to compare it to. So I'm saying that this is really oaky, but that could be super uncharacteristic of Woodinville for all I know.
Hmm. I have had, so their standard straight bourbon whiskey is bottled at 90 proof. And at that proof, I do remember getting more fruit flavor and less oak. I will say that the majority of what I have drank out of this has been in Manhattans, and it makes a really good Manhattan. I have not had it neat all that many times. The first time I ever drank it, I would have drank it neat with ice with some water. And at that point, I think I made the decision when I first got it. I was like, well, we're going to make Manhattans out of this because I think it'll make a good one. And it did. It does make a really good Manhattan. But yeah, it's not interesting enough for me to drink it neat on a regular basis.
Yeah.
In my opinion. That's my opinion. What the fuck do I know, you know?
Yeah. Hopefully quite a bit, because you have a bourbon podcast, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
No Twitter.
Yeah, no Twitter. Twitter's a really
I do actually,
hole.
but I'm not. Like I have one, I just don't use it.
There's the Parlor account.
Yeah, we got a lot of Parlor accounts out there.
What did I referred to Parlor as Clan Book the other day. and somebody was like, they were confused, and I was like, no, Parlor. I was like, they're like, oh, I've got a Parlor. I was like, whoa, hold on. Ryan gave a thumbs up by accident.
Yeah.
It never
How does
comes
that
up
happen?
whenever you do thumbs up. It's just whenever you have your hand here, it'll do it.
There it was.
Or if does this change? You're about to raise your hand.
Oh, and now you switched cameras too.
Yeah, that's gonna fuck up the whole recording.
Is it?
And what useless feature Zoom is implementing? Can I do this? Will it let me do this now? No, because I'm not on the app. This is just a tablet setting. All right, there we go. Now you're back to where you started.
I'm back.
Yeah.
There was a button to hit lower your hand.
Shit.
Oh, I just raised my hand.
Oh, yeah. You just switched. Yeah, now
we have
the cameras are all
reactions and
changing.
shit. I can do that one. What else do I have? Oh shit! I got it. Oh, look at this one.
We're really gonna fuck up the recording now. What about slow down? Now I'm gonna watch. Slow down. Slow down. Oh, it's just saying slow down. I thought it would alter my video. That's
dumb
fucking
fuck.
stupid. That'd be cool.
You are
though, right?
so dumb.
How cool would it have been if it was doing effects like you were going slow?
You are the IT guy.
Yeah, but who would ever listen? As the IT guy, I know that if you press slow down as a Zoom reaction, fucking no one will pay attention to that in a meeting.
That's a fact. That's true. Yeah.
Can you imagine being in a Zoom meeting with 30 people, and then there's one guy that has slow down? I assume that's a mistake, or I don't notice it at all.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
You know what my reaction would be? I'll send you the recording when we're done.
As Willett should be.
Yeah. You know, our audio listeners are really this is the worst portion of any of this horrible podcast that we've ever listened to.
I think audio-wise, that part, while it didn't land, I just don't think it was the worst. I'll say that.
We've been way worse than that.
Yeah. To me, that was like it was a passable few minutes of audio. There's a ton of people right now who are just skipping ahead every 5 seconds just to wait to hear our reviews and our
Yeah.
rankings at the end.
A
So
ton
they're
of
just
people,
like,
I think that's a bit of a stretch.
well, by a ton of, I
There are
mean
there
of the
are tens
percentage
of
of people. Yeah. A ton of means of the percentage of people that watch. Most of them are clicking through at this point. They're just like,
There are 4 people. Click.
and then somebody just got onto this moment, and they're like, they're still fucking talking about Zoom.
Connor is the only one who listened to this entire section.
Yeah. Thank you, Connor. Everyone else, for everybody else scrubbing, fuck you.
So what do you think? Should we go ahead and give the people what they want, and then we can continue our conversation about other shit, or what do we want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this one is a pretty straightforward one. I would be comfortable going ahead and rating it at this point.
I would be too, actually. I mean, there's lots of other stuff I want to talk about, but like as far as this particular Woodinville Straight Bourbon whiskey, I think I'm ready to make my call.
Rate it. I'm ready. How about you start, Daniel?
Yeah, I'll start.
Robert Schmidt.
5.8. It's a 5.8 from me. It's fine. It's yeah, I mean it's fine. I don't dislike it at all. I don't regret if I paid 45 or 50 bucks for it. I don't regret paying the 45 or 50 bucks. It's high proof. It's got some, like, I would not expect that this, like, if you handed me this without me having any information about it, I would not guess, that it's 120 proof. I don't taste 120 proof. I do taste a lot of whiskey, but it's not like, it doesn't burn my tongue. It doesn't burn my cheeks. I'm not getting an ethanol burn in any way, shape, or form. But it's just really simple. There's no complexity to it at all. There's no sweetness to it at all. The things I tend to enjoy in a whiskey or a bourbon, it just doesn't have. But I do enjoy it in a Manhattan. It might make a decent old fashioned. I don't think I've ever tried it in an old fashioned. But I will not be replacing it with another $45 or $50 bottle, and I won't miss it when it's gone. So 5.8.
I'll give it a 5.9. That's what I was leaning towards because I like it a little bit better than you, I think, Dan. So I'm happy that you went a little lower than I was thinking. Because just based on what you're saying, I think I like it a little bit more. But I don't. There's just too much out there. The score is as much a reflection of how much great shit is out there as it is like, how I just don't hate this one. I don't hate it, but it's just there's so much else out there. It's just not very complex. It's pretty straightforward. I'm struggling to think of more stuff to say about it. It just tastes like 120 proof. I think it does taste closer to that percentage, personally, but I think it tastes like 120 proof oaky bourbon, and that's all there is to it. And the nose is probably the most interesting part about it. Other than that, so for me, it doesn't even get into like the 6 point range. But again, mainly reflection of how much other great stuff is out there.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
How do you compare it to either of the offerings from Stumpy's last week?
From Stumpy's, I like both of Stumpy's more as a total package. Yeah. I think that, and I gave those 7s. I think. Yeah. So I like them substantially more. I didn't think that either of the Stumpy's picks that we had were like total top tier upper echelon things, but they're a great example of the alternative to this, where it's like, I think the only reason I could see somebody picking this over the Stumpy's picks would be that you just like that oaky profile way more. And I mean, You might even get that on some of the Stumpy's picks, right? But or you're just chasing proof. And if you're chasing proof, then you're gonna go after this. You're gonna go after the Coy Hill Reserve or whatever we talked about last week from Jack Daniels. You're gonna go after that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But to me, I'd rather just have an interesting flavor. So
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. I mean, because comparing Woodinville to Stumpy's, that's craft versus craft, right? They're both craft distilleries. Woodinville is a craft distillery that's been around longer. Because of that, they have a bigger distribution base. They're a more well-known, whereas Stumpy's is literally only in this area that people have heard of it, unless you're a distiller.
Yeah, I think Woodinville is in Target, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
it probably is.
Yeah.
But they are still completely a craft distillery. They're not even mid-tier. They're very much craft. So, okay, I was just curious. So 5.9 from you, Steven?
Yeah.
Ryan? Dan, you took my rating again, or I took yours? This has been happening a lot. As soon as I drank this, the first sip, I said 5.8. And I think if you're going to make this boring of a whiskey, you should at least have a cool bottle like Willett. Because it's like, at least Willett's got a cool bottle. I mean, the juice in this is way better. And way better, I mean, marginally better. I can't remember what I gave Willett, like a 4.8 or something. I mean, this is definitely a point higher. But you got the generic bottle made from the same bottle maker that all these craft distillers are probably using. Branch out a little bit. It's just the nose is better than the palate and the finish. It's just straight up oak kicking you in the teeth. It's peppery in the back of the throat, and then there's no hug, there's nothing. I think a good point you made was just chasing that proof, and that's probably what they're doing. I'm sure their 90 proof probably tastes better. Didn't you say it was a little fruitier and you got other notes? It's just boring, and I know they're small, but they probably still got to figure it out a little bit. And props to you for being in Target and everything like that, but it's just underwhelming and boring. It's not terrible, but it is what it is.
I think you said something that is smarter than you actually are, Ryan, and that's that I do think if memory serves properly, the 90 proof was actually better. And this is a situation where adding some water, proofing it down, brings out a completely different level of characteristic. And again, that's if memory serves. I remember enjoying the 90 proof, and kind of reiterates that higher proof does not automatically mean more nor better flavors. It's just a different flavor. So anyway, there you have it.
Woodinville whiskey. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I mean, Jesus.
Woodinville whiskey. I used to smoke fucking clove cigarettes, apparently.
What's wrong with that, dude?
I don't think I ever saw you smoke cloves either, man.
Maybe that was
someone else.
Maybe it was.
Were
Matt.
you so embarrassed by it that you only did it by yourself?
No, I liked them. I liked that cool sound they made. I was like a fucking teenager. I mean, what the hell's wrong with you guys? They've marketed it towards teens, and that's what I was smoking.
All right.
It was cool. I mean, black.
Hey, man, we're not saying you weren't cool, okay? We wouldn't go that far.
Don't insult me, all right?
We would never insult you, Ryan.
I would smoke those again. I would smoke one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you get some and do it next week on the show?
In my house.
Why not? You own it. You can smoke in your house if you want to.
Just one.
I haven't made a mortgage payment in 4 months. It was funny when I had my realtor. He was I actually knew him, and there were a couple of things wrong with the house. I'm like, oh, my cousin's a plumber. It's no big deal. Like, oh, that water heater is a little small and old. You might need a new one. I'm like, oh, another cousin's a a furnace AC guy. My realtor's like, "Are you just lying about everybody you know?"
You know,
I'm like, "No, it's working class family here.
furnace AC guys don't mess with water heaters. That's
Or what?
plumbers.
Well, my cousin does. He does it all. Yeah. So
All right.
he's one of my favorite. He's my second cousin. We call him Joey Eggs. That's his nickname. The whole family calls him Joey Eggs. You guys want to hear the story why?
No.
No.
All right, so here we go. But apparently I wasn't there. It was 20 years ago. My mom, her 4 siblings, her cousins, they were all at
I'm just
Denny's.
gonna mute Ryan because
Come on. They were all at Denny's. This was 20 years ago. Speeding up.
People can't see this, but I just used the speed up reaction.
What does that do? You're the same.
It doesn't
it tells
do
you to
anything.
speed the fuck up.
Okay, Dan.
Oh, is that
so
what it is?
you made fun of me earlier because I didn't know what it was, but we actually explained what it did on this podcast, and Ryan still didn't know what it did after that.
Yeah, but we all know that Ryan has learning disabilities. Okay?
I was trying to add filters on my on this fucking thing. I wasn't listening to a word you were saying.
All right, so Joey Eggs. Tell us about Joey Eggs.
I'm not gonna fucking tell you the story now.
Oh, good. God, that worked brilliantly, Steven.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Long story short,
God damn it.
so they're bringing everyone's meal out like one piece at a time.
Oh my god,
Like
if it's just he wanted eggs or some shit, I'm gonna be pissed.
No. So everyone's getting their meal like one side at a time.
Hold
someone
on,
gets their pan.
Ryan, before you finish, I'm sorry. Dan, right now, guess why he's called Joey Eggs.
Yeah.
Because his eggs came out wrong, so he asked them to be remade.
Okay.
I'm gonna say he ordered something entirely different, and they gave him eggs.
Both incorrect. They're pissed off. Everyone's getting their food one little side at a time. So my cousin Joey
He picked it up and threw it at him.
Let's keep guessing.
He had a side of toast. He took it and threw it against the wall. And then my Uncle John, my mom's brother, looks at him and goes, "Is that all you got?" So waitress is walking by with like an entire tray of eggs. Apparently, he took it off from her shoulder and threw it against the wall. It was another table's food. It wasn't his. And then
What the fuck?
that's the
What
name.
a fucking asshole!
Seriously.
They were
That's
drunk.
fucked up.
Well, in the table that was waiting for the food, they were all bikers. So apparently my cousin Joe had like a flapjack thing, and he was like looking at the bikers. There's like 20 of them. And then the cops got called and he drove off, not intoxicated.
Another bourbon show. Another bourbon show. Another bourbon show.
Yeah, that's Ryan Navoff's world view in a nutshell. Just get born again, dude.
Be born to a rich family. That's what you're missing out on here, Stephen.
I lived in a trailer as a kid.
Did you really?
No,
Yeah.
of course he did. No way. No, you
I
didn't.
swear to God, from like ages of like 3 to 5.
But it was probably a double wide, right?
I don't know, man. Because after we moved into my grandparents' house and then we got an apartment, I doubt it. I had a race car bed though. I'm like, God, am I trash?
As a kid, you're like, I'm trash. That's so funny. That like as like a 4-year-old, you're just like, you're laying in your bed, you're like, am I trash?